Music Industry Studies, question 1. The second type of contract that an original recording artist must sign is a record contract. To find out the information required to answer that part of question 1, again, just go to your Music Industry Studies folder, open up folder assignment 1, then open up PDF 2. I'm going to talk through some of the stuff it says in that PDF. So you can see there's a definition provided there of what a record deal is. And then this section here where the cursor is moving. The word exploit in this context doesn't mean something negative. If you exploit something, you use it to your advantage. So a record deal enables record companies to exploit an artist's performance in a sound recording in return for royalty payments. That word, royalty payments. A royalty is something an original creator gets paid every time their original creation is performed or seen or heard or experienced. And that original creation could be an acting performance, it could be a script, it could be a song, it could be a poem, anything that is intellectually created. And again, the word exploitation here is used in a positive sense for the artist. I just want you to look at this section here where again the cursor is flashing. There's certain things it says here which are woefully outdated. This was written in 2013, it's now 2024 as you're listening to this recording. So it talks about physical sales. All of these things, CD, vinyl and cassette are what's known as obsolete. Obsolete means something that is not around anymore. So for example, CD is something that was played in the 90s and early noughties. It became a household item in about 1991. Vinyl are records. You see those discs, black discs. They're something that collectors collect now, and enthusiasts and people that are really into music. That was something that existed right up until, say, the early 80s, where cassette are something that some of you possibly haven't even seen, but that was tape, and tape is not used now either, and it's very difficult to impossible to get. So you can see how outdated that is. It says exploitation is achieved through physical sales such as CD, vinyl and cassette. The public performance and broadcasting of works and the sale of digital products such as downloads and mobile ringtones. Even downloading mobile ringtones is obsolete. As I said, obsolete means something obsolete, something that doesn't exist anymore. And then if you go to this section, they talk about Blu-ray and DVD, also two technologies that ended up on the scrap heap that don't exist anymore. They were high format playback systems. So you can talk about all of those things in an historical sense if you want. Okay, but there is one section here that's important when it talks about that an artist is signed to one label exclusively. See where it says that artists under contract are normally only allowed to record for that label exclusively. You can't record for someone else, you can't give your work to another label, so it's an exclusive record label. And even if you appear on other people's songs who are signed to other record labels, you need to get permission from the record label that you're signed to. It says their guest appearance on other artists' records will carry a notice. You can see all that. Now we get to this section which is relevant nowadays, 360 contracts. That means that nowadays, because physical sales are practically non-existent. What I mean by physical sales are CDs and vinyl and cassettes, like we mentioned before. Everything now is streaming just about everything is streaming now. It's not even it's not even sales of digital files like it was maybe back in the Napster days or the iTunes days or any of those early platforms. A 360 contract means that the artist has to give some of their live performance revenue. Revenue means money that you make. Revenue is another posh word for money. So 360 contract means that the artist gives some of their live performance takings to the record company because the artist is not making enough money from streaming. For example, what artists get paid on Spotify is an absolute disgrace, disaster. It's terrible. Everybody agrees on that. Just to give you one statistic there, that there was a band called Portishead who had 2 million plays of 114 million plays of their album, and they got £2,000 sterling to split between 4 members of the band. That's 114 million streams of their album, and they got £2,000 sterling in royalties from the record company. So that's what a 360 contract involves. Now it's important to do your own research. As I keep saying, you're doing a QQI level 5 course which involves a lot of so-called self-directed learning. Go to the internet, supplement what you're reading there with information that you find out. That's where all the good marks come if you're interested in a distinction. Quote your sources, as they say. If you are getting something direct from the internet, provide copy and paste the URL into your answer.